National Anthem of Republic of Indonesia, please be raised. Please be seated. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for us to host this occasion in a very beautiful island with stunning atmosphere and its unique culture, Bali. Speaking about culture and heritage, we would like to present to you a lovely performance which usually presented to welcome special guests as special as you are. Inspired by the gesture of Balinese character with its dynamic and smooth choreography. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the dance of Selat Segara. Once again, let's give a big round of applause for the performance of Selat Segara Dance. A very good morning, Honorable Senior Advisor for the Ministry of Education and Culture, Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Ananto Kusuma Seta, Head of Research and Development and HR Development, Ministry of Communication and Information, Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Basuki Yusuf Iskandar, Director of Information, Communication and Technology Center for Ministry of Education and Culture, Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Gogot Suharwoto, PhD. Assistant to Governance and Society Welfare, Dr. Andes Ida Bagus Kade Subiksu MM, on behalf of Governor of Bali Province. Keynote speakers and moderators, distinguished participants. It has been an honor for us to have you here on the occasion of International Symposium on Open, Distance, and E-Learning 2018, with the theme, Making Education 4.0 for Indonesia. First of all, let us take a look on a video of ISODEL from 1995 to 2018 on this video. Republic of Indonesia to deliver official report. Mr. Gogot Suharwoto, PhD, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Om Swastiastu. Honorable Minister of Education and Culture, in this time being represented by Mr. Ananto Kusuma Seta, Senior Advisor for the Ministry of Education and Culture, Honorable Minister of Communication and Information, being represented by Dr. Insinyur Basuki Yusuf Iskandar MA, the head of research and development of Ministry of Communication and Information, Honorable Governor of Bali, being represented by Deputy Governor Mr. Dr. Ida Bagus Kade Subiksu MA, distinguished keynote speakers, Bapak Ilham Habibi, Bapak Don Carlson, Pak Deden, Ibu Tian, and Mame Omar Diop from ICBA, International Institute for Capacity Building of Africa. Respected official from the Ministry of Education and Culture, distinguished speakers, participants, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let's praise to Allah, the Almighty, for His blessing, and that this morning we can gather in the Stone Hotel to open the International Symposium on Open, Distance, and E-Learning in 2018. Please allow me to report what we have prepared for this event. So, we have chosen the theme of this event, which is Making Education 4.0 for Indonesia. And we divided the theme to be 4. The first one is how we decide what technology is suitable for our classroom. The second one is how we transform this technology into our classroom, the school, and education. And then the third one, how can the character building are not eroded with the technology. And then the fourth one, the President has decree about vocational education. So this 4 sub-theme will be discussed during the 3 days symposium. The goal of this event, the ISODEL, basically to provide opportunities to policymakers, scientists, academics, teachers, researchers, practitioners from all over the world, and we invite all of them to come and to discuss. And then to find the good practices, the best practices in education technology, digital transformation, and also how we can prepare our teachers and countering the Industrial Revolution 4.0. We have invited keynote speakers, and they all have been here, except Pak Mama Omar Diop. He's been traveling, I think, on the plane. Yeah? It's very far from Ethiopia. And then, thank you very much for the support from the UT, Open University of Indonesia, UNESCO Jakarta office, and then IDLN, Indonesian Distance Learning Network, CIMEO Center in Bangkok, and also CIMEO Simolek, SPADA from the Ministry of Research, Technology and Higher Education, and also the government of Bali. So let's give a round of applause for this supporter. This event will be run with this form. So every day we will have keynote speakers, 2 each day, and then we have plenary discussion. The expert will discuss about the issue that's being presented, and then we break down the session into parallel session. And also we have workshop for specific technology that participant can learn, provided on site here by our supporter. And also, I forgot to mention, supporter from the company that's being can be seen in outside, which is the workshop and the exhibition, and also the poster session from the teachers. So thank you also for the supporter from the industry, in the IT industry, that has supported this event. So this event, ISODEL will, today for the 3 days, we will have 15 plenary speakers and 46 parallel sessions. So a participant we have 1,800. Hopefully this room is enough. I'm not worried about the room actually, I'm worried about the food. Yeah? So we will prepare for 100. And the agenda of today, I'd just like to emphasize on this issue. I'd like to inform that our minister will be coming this afternoon. So he says his regard to all of us, the participants of ISODEL, and he will officially open this afternoon. That's why I presented this rundown that during the day, basically at 4:30, so this one. So the most important one is here. Basically, I like to emphasize that after parallel session this afternoon, yeah, we are hoping all of participants will gather again in this room, yeah, to discuss and to conclude what we have learned for today. And to encourage you to come, we will prepare a door prize. It's mentioned here, laptop. So, if you have, we only provide one. Yeah? If you want more outside, we have Acer, we have Microsoft, they will prepare others for you. And then, we also will invite you tomorrow evening for cultural night. We'll prepare dinner and we'll take you to the Discovery Kartika Hotel. So please dress nicely tomorrow, yeah? And we will enjoy the cultural night. So I think this is what I can report for this evening and this event. So thank you for your coming, and I would like to request Pak Senior Advisor for the Ministry, Pak Ananto Sumaseta, to give a welcoming speech for this morning. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Santi 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 Om.
Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite Assistant to Governance and Society Welfare on behalf of Governor of Bali Province to deliver Governor's speech. Dr. Nus Ida Baguskade Subiksu, the floor is yours.
Bapak Ibu hadirin yang saya hormati, mohon izin saya membacakan atau menyampaikan sambutan Bapak Gubernur Bali. Jadi, we apologize that we have to speak in bahasa Indonesia. Kalau Pak Pustekom tadi bolehlah, karena beliau hebat sekali bahasa Inggrisnya. Jadi kalau di Bali itu sudah nilainya 8,5. Terima kasih, Pak. Karena this speech is prepared in Indonesia, so we have to speak in bahasa Indonesia. Saya akan bacakan, jadi sambutan pada acara pembukaan International Symposium on Open and Distant Education and E-Learning atau ISODEL 2018 di The Stuns Hotel Tegian Bali, Senin 3 Desember 2018. Yang saya hormati Bapak Menteri Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan Republik Indonesia, yang dalam hal ini diwakili oleh Bapak Staf Ahli Menteri Bidang Inovasi dan Daya Saing, Bapak Ananto Kusuma Seta, PhD. Yang saya hormati Bapak Menteri Komunikasi dan Informasi Republik Indonesia atau yang mewakili. Yang saya hormati Bapak Menteri Dalam Negeri atau yang mewakili. Menteri Keuangan Republik Indonesia atau yang mewakili. Menteri Riset, Teknologi dan Pendidikan Tinggi Republik Indonesia atau yang mewakili. Para pejabat jajaran Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan, Yang saya hormati Bapak Ilham Habibie, all the speakers, participants, and ladies and gentlemen. Om Swastiastu. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, Namo Buddhaya, Rahayu. Pertama-tama marilah kita menghaturkan puji pangastuti dan angayu bahagia kehadapan Ida Sang Yang Widiwasa, Tuhan Yang Maha Esa, atas asung kerta wara nugrahanya, kita bersama-sama dapat menghadiri acara pembukaan International Symposium on Open, Distance, and E-Learning atau ISODEL 2018 dengan tema Making Education 4.0 for Indonesia. Jadi menjadikan pendidikan 4.0 untuk Indonesia. Itu kurang lebihnya kalau dialihkan dalam bahasa Indonesia. Pada hari ini dalam keadaan sehat dan berbahagia serta dalam suasana damai dan penuh kekeluargaan. Atas nama pemerintah Provinsi Bali, saya mengucapkan selamat kepada seluruh jajaran pimpinan dan keluarga besar Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan atas terselenggaranya kegiatan ini. Saya berharap melalui kegiatan seperti ini akan membawa dampak untuk mendukung transformasi pendidikan di Indonesia menuju pendidikan 4.0. Kepada seluruh peserta, saya ucapkan selamat datang di Pulau Dewata. Semoga dengan Taksu Bali dapat memberikan inspirasi untuk melahirkan rekomendasi yang dapat memberikan kemajuan bagi pendidikan menyongsong era industri 4.0. Hadirin yang saya hormati, era industri 4.0 akan terus menghadirkan banyak perubahan yang tak bisa dibendung. Karena itu sangat penting mendorong sektor pendidikan nasional dan pendidikan dasar hingga pendidikan tinggi melakukan penyesuaian kurikulum pendidikan dengan tantangan dan kebutuhan pada era sekarang ini. Kurikulum yang membuka akses bagi generasi milenial mendapatkan ilmu dan pelatihan untuk menjadi pekerja yang kompetitif dan produktif. Sejalan dengan itu, Bali selain terus berupaya mengikuti perkembangan teknologi informasi, Bali juga tengah mengembangkan konsep pengembangan SDM Bali unggul yang didasarkan pada sastra dan juga kearifan lokal di Bali. Konsep ini mengembangkan SDM Bali berdasarkan nilai-nilai kearifan lokal Bali seperti lontar, sastra, maupun pitutur-pitutur yang ada di masyarakat Bali yang diberikan oleh para leluhur masyarakat Bali di zaman dahulu. Lontar sastra dan pitutur tersebut adalah modal yang sangat baik untuk menjadi salah satu referensi dalam mengembangkan sistem pendidikan di Bali. Hadirin yang berbahagia, demikian beberapa hal yang perlu saya sampaikan. Semoga melalui simposium ini dapat menghasilkan rumusan untuk mendukung transformasi pendidikan di Indonesia dalam menyongsong era pendidikan dan industri 4.0. Sekian dan terima kasih. Om Santi Santi Santi. Om.
Mr. Ida Baguskade Subiksu, you are kindly asked to remain on stage to receive the token of appreciation from Mr. Gogot Suharwoto. Mr. Gogot Suharwoto, please come forward to present the token of appreciation.
Belum selesai. Minta lagi 1 detik. Gubernur Bali, cap dan tanda tangan Wayan Koster. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Idya Bagus Kade Subiksu. You are kindly asked to remain on stage to receive the token of appreciation from Mr. Gogot Suharwoto. Let's give a big round of applause for the presentation of token appreciation to governors of Bali province. Thank you very much indeed. You may return to your seat. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite Senior Advisor for the Ministry of Education and Culture, Republic of Indonesia, to deliver his speech. Mr. Ananto Kusumaseta, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera, very good morning. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Yang sama-sama kita hormati Pak Dr. Andes Ida Bagus Kude Subiksu MM, Asisten Pemerintahan dan Kesra dari Sekretaris Daerah Provinsi Bali, Pak Dr. Basuki yang mewakili Kementerian Kominfo, dia adalah Kepala Badan Litbang, Pak Ilham sebagai Ketua Masyarakat Telematika Indonesia. Distinguished speakers, Prof. Lim Cherping from University of Hong Kong, Professor Deden Rukmana from Alabama A&M University, Mr. Don Carlson from Microsoft Asia Pacific, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Few words saja mewakili Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan. Well, first of all, on behalf of the Ministry of Education and Culture, I would like to convey deep appreciations and many thanks for your comings. Welcome to Bali. Selamat datang di Bali. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to be together with all of you here. It is very meaningful moment that we all be here to discuss and share knowledge, sharing the experiences, best practices in order to bring our future generations go to the next level. Secondly, as Pak Gogot mentions, I would like to announce that the Minister Muhajir will join us later this afternoon after he finished meeting with the Parliament. We do apologize on this, but show must go on. Harus jalan terus, dan biar Pak Menteri nanti di akhir. Saya tidak membuka, karena yang membuka nanti Pak Menteri, tetap. Sehingga saya hanya deliver welcome remark. And I wish all of you can enjoy the symposium and get maximum benefit out of it. Ibu dan Pak sekalian, ini Bali. Ini Kuta. Rasanya kita keliru di sini ini. This is Bali, this is Kuta. I know we are in the wrong place, and this is the center, the Mecca of the tourist district. So if I may suggest to you, all the participants, please extend your stay in Bali. Enjoy the beach, enjoy the exotic culture of Bali, and don't forget, contribute to the local economy. Well, again, thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum, Om Santi Santi Om. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite Head of Research and Development and HR Development, Ministry of Communication and Information, Republic of Indonesia, to deliver his speech. Mr. Basuki Yusuf Iskandar, the floor is yours.
Saya harus menurunkan mic setiap kali bicara dan lebih tinggi dari saya. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, and very good morning. I will try to, first of all, I will deliver the regret of the minister for not being able to together with us in person to give keynote speakers, because I think he's now right now still in the Buenos Aires in Argentina to have a meeting on G20. So he asked me to represent him to give or to deliver the keynote speech in the forum that's very prestigious. Yeah. First, I will talk about something related with the Industrial 4.0 because it's a hot issue. So I think every ministries are really busy with this kind of animal. So really hot topic, and we have to prepare about that because there are so many uncertainty that we have to face it in order to overcoming it. And this not easy, so we have to prepare something to anticipate. So my topic is, again, is talking about anticipating. Anticipating, I think is very important word for us to face the Industrial 4.0 in the future. Nice. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. This is the animal. Industrial 4.0. I think most of us already already know about this figure. It's very popular. That first revolution is about the water and steam, and the second is electricity, and the third is automation, and the fourth is about fourth industrial revolution that we are talking about. It's about how the easiest way to figure out what kind of industrial form is the merging between the virtual world and the virtual world with the real world. I think it's the easiest way to explain that. So what kind of world in the future, we still don't know. And we still, so many things, prediction about the future of Industry 4.0. So that's why it's very important for us to gathering together when we're talking about education 4.0, because education is very important to prepare the human resource, to be able to anticipating the future. Next, again, when we're talking about the future of Industrial 4.0, just I said before that it will full of uncertainty. Or other word is disruption. Even in the education sector. As we see, we just stunned by the news coming from the big companies in the world that they are no longer require employee to have a college degree. This the top company in the world, and see the number is becoming. When I first know about this news, it's just 3, but now becoming 12. Maybe next week it's becoming 25. Yeah, and next month becoming 100, and next year it's becoming hundreds. So it's, I think, something we have to prepare to face the future and the challenge the education system. It's not easy because at least change is not easy. It's easy to say what change, but when we come to the reality and conduct the change, it's very difficult. Something that we are facing the what's so-called inertia. Want to stay just as usual. This is the human nature, and we sometimes we doubt that we still as a species as usual we can survive in the future. So we have to do something differently. We have to do something differently about when we're talking about education system. Otherwise, the danger is becoming more and more and greater and greater. We can not anticipate it. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Another danger in the level of in the area of the labor force that you can see from the picture. There's so many things. Yeah, almost 100 million people jobless. It's nightmare. Scary, very scary. But another thing, because there are 100 million maybe, another new jobs offer in the market. But again, it is not taken for granted, preparing millions of Indonesia, yeah, or maybe thousands of Indonesia to be ready in the new economy, new skills, new knowledge, and new work ethics that going to be very different in the future. So what kind of economy in the future? The characteristic of economy is going to be changed from tangible flows of physical goods becoming intangible flows of data and information. I heard that Google's is still considered right now in Indonesia as a transportation company. And also, maybe the more important thing is data and information company. The value of the company is greater than I cannot say the name of the company, but prominent company in air transportation. Yeah. So it's going to be changed. The economy is changed, and another thing is flows mainly between advanced economy to greater participation by emerging economies. It's good news. Again, it's a good news for us here, for the developing countries to catch up the developed countries. But again, it's not easy. It's not taken for granted. We have to work hard to catch up more and more in many areas, so we can leapfrog to other countries and becoming the equal level of economy. Because industrial 4.0 offering so many things. Yeah. One characteristic of the industry 4.0 because the easy access of information. So the local value from Indonesia, from other country, from Burma or Asian country and African country can be easily recognized by all of the world, people all over the world. So the value, the local, becoming greater and greater because it's recognized, can be promoted, and also can be explored to be more valuable economy in terms of economically. It's good news. Capital labor and labor intensive flow, more knowledge, intensive flow. I think it's good news for us, for the researcher and for Deden. I think it's very good news. And the role of diaspora is very important to flows the knowledge from coming from all over the world to back to Indonesia. I think the role of diaspora is very important in this, more important, because knowledge much more becoming important than good or capital. Yeah. Okay. Again, innovation flows from advanced country to emerging country. It's emerging country, the emerging economies. Right now, current state. Yeah. But we're talking in the next states, Industry 4.0, the innovation flows in both directions. As I said before, then the local that now is not recognized by people all over the world, so the value may be less. In the future, becoming valuable will be greater locally. So the information local is going to be widely economic to global. So the information from local to world to global is more important and becoming characteristic of the future industrial 4.0. So when we're talking about that, so what's the government role? I think we have to move. Yeah, we have to move from regulator to facilitator and more, if able, becoming accelerator of the progress of the people. So it's the changing the role. How we can facilitate the people and also maybe community and also industry to become more competitive in the global competition. This is the our role. Even the regulation is we set up based on this aim to facilitate and accelerate it, the people and also companies to become more competitive in the global competition. So I think the change of our role in the future, we need concerted effort for that. We really need the concerted effort from across the ministries, even across the community, even across the stakeholder to face the big change in the future. Hello, I'm sorry. When talking about the labor force, what kind of skills, really needed in the future, in the era of Industry 4.0? I just mentioned 3 important skills that needed in the era of Industry 4.0. The first is about the skill, knowledge, and attitude to master the complex problem solving. We can see the complex problem solving. When we focusing the complex, and the word of complex, it means cannot be solved by single discipline. So we need more discipline approach to solve the problem. So the character of the people, that they have capability to communicate with other discipline. They have ability to work together with other discipline. So the character that really ego, that my discipline is very, the one that very important, the most important thing, I think the character is be not working lagi, tidak ada lagi, Okay, to the first rank that we needed, the complex problem solving, and the second is critical thinking. Critical thinking. That I think still the culture in Indonesia, I think still problem with the critical thinking. We are not really open mind. We are really closed mind. So the critical thinking, we have to enlarge our room for other possibilities, not just one possibilities. Sometimes we have dictated ways that this one should be solved by this one. This is just one way. So we have to thinking other ways. Maybe the other way is better than our way now, This critical thinking need more open mind, more larger spectrum of thinking. And the third is critical thinking. That's almost the same as creativity, critical thinking. The creativity is very important because I think there no innovation without creativity. The embryo of the innovation is coming from creativity. Creativity and then innovation, and then go to market. So creativity is becoming essential for developing the competitiveness, because competition now, especially in global competition, is driven by the innovation. Global competition is driven by innovation. No competition, no competitive. So as our future, I think, mostly depend on our capacity to innovate something. It means depend on our creativity. So our creativity is need more critical thinking. So critical thinking is becoming essential for us, and again, education is very important for that. So this 9 pillars of technology that really predominantly in Industry 4.0. So the first, big data, autonomous robot, simulation, augmented reality, horizontal and integral integration, and Internet of Things, cyber security, and then cloud computing, addictive monitoring, and supply chain management. Almost all the pillars of technology mostly related, ICT related. So not because of I'm coming from the Ministry of ICT, but Industry 4.0 really need the competence of ICT to be able to survive in the future. Yeah. Mostly I'm coming from the branch of ICT. So, what I propose in the industry, education 4.0, I think is we have to going to personalize or talent-based education. Maybe talent-based education is very expensive, but when we're talking about not only the cost, but the result, maybe it's not expensive anymore. So talent-based is very important for us, though, because it will direct the efficiency or effectiveness of our education system. So talent-based education. Yeah. So the students become more focused in the area that they are really talented, in the area that they are really wanted. I imagine that all the people of Indonesia really working in the area, they work in the area that just based on their hobby. Yeah, based on their hobby, I think the result will going to be better. And the happiness of the worker getting more and more because they are work in the area that really want it and maybe as their hobby. Yeah. So I think recognizing the talent of the student is very important for the step of education system. Part of the step of education system, recognizing the talent of our student is very important. Yeah. I'm sorry to say something personal, but I'm not the example of talent-based education. I'm product of the random education system. Yeah, I was graduated from civil engineering in Gajah Mada University, and I was accepted as a staff in Bapenas, in Ministry of Planning, and because I work for something related with economy, when I apply for master degree, my boss said that you have to take economic degree, civil, and then moving to economic degree. But after master, I got freedom. Yeah, I got freedom. So, and then I choose the management, technology management more closely with the first one, the civil engineering. And when I'm working, yeah, and I through my career after finishing my PhD degree. 2 years after that, I'm promoted as Echelon 2, and then in Echelon 2, it's not really related with my background of study. I have to deal with the culture, with something with jadi direktur kebudayaan dulu, Bu. Ya. Jadi it is not matched with with my study background. Ya. And then I was promoted to Ministry of Communication and Information Technology that really deal with mostly, I can say 90% dealing with telecommunication and something, yeah, regulation. That's not related with my background of study against. So I can say that I'm product of the random system. So I feel that this not good. Yeah, my example is not good. Yeah. Imagine that I was promoted in the area that I belong with my background study. I think gonna be better for us. Yeah. And then the teaching system that promote 4 C's: creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. Because to master the complex problem system, they have good communication and collaboration, and the spirit of collaboration based on good communication. Yeah. And the opposite is competence, again, because education system is in danger, challenged by Google CS, Google dan kawan-kawan, and 12 big companies, top companies, they are not really requiring undergraduate degree for their recruiting staff or staff. So could be competence in the area. What is the meaning of competence? They have good knowledge, and good skill, soft skill and skill, hard skill and soft skill. Knowledge, skill, and soft skill. And also, the last is about the important thing is work ethic. Teacher and lecturer who are responsive, adaptive, and reliable to the need of industry. Yeah, I think this issue is quite long, and we are spend quite many of our energy to overcome this problem. But the problem still remain. Yeah, the problem still remain. Yeah, I think it's sending lecturer or teacher to a related industry that they are teaching. I think it's very important. Soon the knowledge will be updated with the new demand of industry. Yeah. Yes, I think it's very important for special time that the lecturer is involved in the area of industry. Saya nggak tahu. I'm sorry I have to say in bahasa Indonesia because it's quite specific. Saya agak kalau saya dulu tuh saya itu produk dari proyek-proyek waktu saya mahasiswa. Dosen saya itu meroyek semua. Tapi pada sisi lain mungkin ada buruknya, tapi sisi lain yang justru kita perlukan ada bagusnya. Ya, karena apa? Dosen-dosen saya tuh ngerti benar apa yang mereka butuhkan, yang industrial butuhkan. So mahasiswa yang ikut proyek itu jadi ngerti. Ya. Jadi saya ikut kena imbasnya, mahasiswa kena imbasnya. Semua mahasiswa kena imbasnya, karena ngajarnya pun juga updated. Nah, pada saat lulus ya, akhirnya saya nggak begitu kaget lagi dengan kondisi yang diperlukan oleh lapangan ya. Jadi gampang sekali. Rasanya dulu kok ya nggak begitu lebar banget gap ini tadi ya. Tapi ya begitu lulus siap, tapi ya lulusnya lama. Itu saja. Saya sendiri spend waktu 8 tahun untuk menyelesaikan S1. Ya sekarang udah dikeluarkan loh itu ya. There are many ways for lecturer to get information, updated information about the demand of industry, about labor force. Yeah. One way is improving the lecturer in the what we call project. Yeah, project by industry, project by industry. So they are really updated with what's happening in the industry, what's the demand. So they follow it. They are ready to product the student that really match with the demand of industry. I think, ya, tidak semua proyek konotasinya jelek ya. Saya kira ini yang berpengaruh ya. Ya, pada level tertentu memang ada negatif dan positifnya. Tapi bagaimana justru kita lah ada negatif dan positifnya, itu challenge buat kita. Bagaimana menekan yang negatif, kemudian mempromot yang positif. So, okay. Bikin ini enggak? Best math ya tadi, I've explained a lot about that. That there are many ways government efforts, including formal education, training, certification, and the last, in brief, I try to present about this, about national competency standard, or in Indonesia we call it SKKNI. Again, but I think we are no need to be scary about the gap. In fact, the gap actually is happen everywhere. Yeah, even in developed country, especially in the area of ICT. When we try to in the area of ICT, so we can see the gap. Yeah. Almost the critical technology that quite relevant with the current state, like cybersecurity, cloud computing, analytic, web development, mobile application design, data science, big data, master data management, they are still mismatch happen. Yeah. Even, let's say, United States, quite high. 70% the gap is happen. As I said before, that the gap still happen in developed countries. In average, globally, 53% gap still happen globally. Yeah, global. So I think we no need very, very so sad about that. Yeah, just try to solve the problem. Yeah, try to solve the problem continuously, consistently, and by learning and see what's the reason. And because I think every country they have the specific reason why the gap still happen. Yeah. So this catering is very good for us because try to not only offering, to overcome the gap, but try to dig, the source of problem, for the gap. Yeah. Okay. In short, because somebody already gave me sign. Just 2 minutes left, as they said. So what MCICT, my ministry, doing for the overcoming the gap. So we tried right now because the president already mentioned and instructed the future and the years coming is focusing more on human resource development. So we try to respond positively, and we try. But the new program, we call it Digital Talent Scholarship. Digital Talent Scholarship, actually we train the fresh graduate, the university fresh graduate in the area of artificial intelligence, big data analysis, cloud computing, and also digital business to promote the spirit and the skill of entrepreneurship of our students. This year, 2018, we limited with 1,000 students. And the applicant is 43,000. So the animo is it's very high. Very high. So that's why we quite happy with the response and the willingness for them to join with this program. So we scale up the number, becoming 20,000 scholarship, covering more area, including IoT. Because when we mentioned about nine pillar of technology, this IoT is going to be very important on that. And also our new program to filling the gap within the demand of industry and the supply side from education. So in the next year, we also try to train the teacher of vocational, what we call in Indonesia is teacher of SMK, SMK. With the permission of Ministry of Education, we will try to help them to more friendly with IT. I think now Ministry of Education already get a program. But we try to make them closer with the demand of industry, so we can deliver the knowledge and the skill to the student. We plan to have 4,000 guru SMK to be trained with the international certification. We will send a letter to the Ministry of Education. Informally, my minister said that already agreed with this proposal, and hopefully we will have a good working together with the Ministry of Education to promote the education more closer to the demand of industry. Terima kasih. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, preceding our agenda this morning, we are about to have keynote speech 1 with the keynote speaker, National ICT Council, Republic of Indonesia. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Ing Ilham Akbar Habibi, MBA.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Pak Basuki, who's representing the Minister for Ministry and Communication and Informatics. Pak Seto, who's representing the Minister for Education and Culture. Bapak, maaf saya lupa namanya, represent the Governor. Pak Gogot, Bapak Ibu lainnya, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry I cannot mention everybody here. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera, Om Swastiastu. Well, I'm giving the second keynote here, and I'm afraid that a lot of my slides are very similar to Pak Basuki, but maybe it's good for you so you can remember it better. But actually, of course, I think what I will do is maybe not go so much into detail regarding the educational part of 4.0, because you got a lot of information already from Pak Basuki, so I don't really want to really say the same thing again. But I think I want to put a frame around it. Where are we going and why is that so? Okay. Well, first of all, I want to explain who I am. Basically, because in the case of Pak Basuki or Pak Seto, it's clear, two ministries, and both of them are very important for Education 4.0. You have the educational part, and you have the technological part, which is the 4.0. So in my case, I am speaking on behalf of the so-called National ICT Council. So what is that? Wantiknas atau Dewan TIK Nasional, or in English, National ICT Council, is a council that has been formed actually quite some time ago. I start here. So actually it starts in the year 2000, and then the first version as it stands as of today, the National ICT Council, was there in 2006. And I'm basically the head of the executive team, the working team, number 4. Before me, all the heads were ministers, ex officio, but I think in 2014, then President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono decided that this council should be headed by not a government official, so I'm basically somebody from a business sector. So I'm not a government man, but I do something like a semi-government job. So maybe if you want to know what we do, in one sentence, we are an advisory board within the executive branch of government. So we have aligned ministries and we have other institutions within that executive branch of government, and we give them advice. So, and this is a little bit about the organization. So we are a two-layered cake. Basically, there is a so-called advisory board to that, or the steering committee, which is headed by the president himself. And the daily head, and so I report directly in this regard to the Minister of Economic Planning, the head of the National Board for Development Planning Agency. And other members are basically other ministers and the cabinet secretary. So the executive team is basically a mix. This is, in Indonesian language, lintas sektor, or in English, cross-sector. So we have people like me from business. Then you have government officials, of course, academicians, people from NGOs, from professional organizations, from companies directly, etc. What we do is this. So we just focus on the blue colors. We formulate general policy and strategic direction. We try to resolve existing strategic issues, and we coordinate on a central government level, local government level, with government-owned entities, and also with the private sector and everybody. So we try to basically be involved in the communication with all parties involved in ICT, and you can imagine ICT today concerns everybody. Everybody is participating in the formulation, in the use, in the creation of new ideas, and so the arrival of ICT has actually empowered and enabled the user to become more than just user, but he or she can contribute in giving input and even co-develop, co-create new things through ICT. I'm going to talk about this later more. Then the last thing that we're supposed to do is basically we approve or co-approve certain types of implementation of programs. So this is basically what we are. So this, as I mentioned before, was already explained by Pak Basuki before, but maybe one thing I'd like to add to what he already said very well. So the fourth digital or fourth industrial revolution is actually, one thing is to describe it as the connection of cyber physical things, but it's actually the data that basically makes it a revolution. So some people say that through the connection of everything with everything else, you can create a lot of data. In fact, we had some discussions with a company from the US, which we all know, I won't mention it here. They provide cloud services. Maybe you know already who I mean. It's the dominant player in this field. And they told us that only in the last 3 years, about 70% of the data that's existing on the internet was created in the last 3 years. 3 years. You can see this is an explosion, a tsunami of data, and that is something you either drown, meaning it's too much data, or you make use of it. And so that is basically what is the fundament of the fourth digital revolution, is the data. Some people say data is the new oil. So the more data you have, the richer you'll become, because you can actually exploit it. So you can probably, for a country like Indonesia, if we manage our data well, if you can make use of that, also in the context of Education 4.0, we can actually make a lot out of it. And using technologies that were already mentioned by Basuki, and I think I will also say a few words later about that, but the data is at the core of the revolution. So, and data comes only about whenever we connect things, we gather them, we process them, we try to understand them, and we innovate upon them. And the innovation that happens then sometimes is disruptive or radical. So this is something that in a different context has already been, I think every ministry in Indonesia or every government institution wants a 4.0. It's the industry 4.0, the education 4.0. The whole country will be 4.0 at some point in time. So I think this is, of course, a target. It needs time. As every target, you don't get it overnight, although we have a lot of data already, but we have to make use of it, and that's the main point. And again, as already mentioned before, at the core of the challenge ahead is the human being, or the adequate, well-qualified, educated human resources are the driver of this fourth industrial revolution. Well, talking a little bit more about digital disruption, or what I called before disruptive innovation or radical innovation. Does it really make sense? What we see, this is just give you a little bit more input what we have already seen in the world. We all know Uber, or in Indonesia we call it Gojek. It's similar, or Grab. It is supposedly something like a taxi company, and it is a very big one. In fact, it is maybe the largest, but does it own any taxi? Or what about Airbnb? It is something like a hotel, but they offer millions and millions of, call it quasi-hotel rooms. But do they own any room? Is that theirs? Et cetera, et cetera. You can read all of this. I want to read every single box here, but you can see that the digital disruption led actually to a new paradigm. In order to have scale, you don't need to have any assets. You don't need to have even employees, although that is still something under discussion. Are the taxi drivers, quote unquote, that work for Grab or Gojek or Uber, are they employees? Are they entrepreneurs? Are they contractors? Well, we don't know. This is something still in development. If you go, Pak Basuki mentioned it, actually, we don't need to be shy about this in Indonesia. We are not sure ourselves, but in fact, just look around in the world, there's still a lot of discussions about that. It is not clear. And what we see here, well, I can imagine, talking about Education 4.0, maybe at some point in time, the largest school in the world doesn't have any classroom, doesn't have any teacher. just extrapolate into that. What do we think will happen to education? But I think for that, my personal opinion, Basuki, is for that we need a very well-functioning artificial intelligence. I think Education 4.0 will not be a killer application unless we will have already something very solid in terms of artificial intelligence. But this still needs some time. So it's not something around the corner. Now, digitalization again. So I'm trying to give you a framework here. So basically, what happens in all sectors, as I mentioned already before, the impact of digitalization is actually on the asset itself, on the labor, as I mentioned, but also on the process. And you can see here there's a list. And I don't want to go through the list point by point, but the red ones are basically, the red sectors is where we have a low impact, and the green one is a high impact. So you can see that the ICT sector itself already has been impacted, of course, a lot by its own technology. It's clear. But other things, like think about what is now up and coming, which is basically fintech or technology financial. You know, in Indonesia, we right now have 4 so-called unicorns. That means companies that are worth more than $1 billion. Unicorns. One would be Gojek. The other one, Tokopedia. The third one, Bukalapak. The fourth one, Traveloka. So we have already 4. Which will be the 5th one? Well, most people bet it will be a company from the financial technology. Because you can imagine what will happen with financial technology that to Indonesians that don't have a bank account until now. The so-called financial inclusion will mean that right now we have about 35 to 40% of Indonesians have access to banks only. Having the digitalization of the financial sector will mean that you will have many more Indonesians included in financial services. So the digitalization is bridging a gap. So let's now project this on education. Do we have an educational gap? Oh yes, we do. What will digitalization bring to that? Well, I think, and I think everybody knows, we know this already, we will have educational inclusion. So the delivery of education, the curriculum will be much improved, much enhanced to more people in Indonesia and other countries through ICT technology. So it will disrupt, of course, existing businesses, but so there is something like a negative, maybe, for the businesses, but the positive is, of course, if we do it right for the population at large. We can deliver better education for more people, but it will be different. So let's draw the picture even larger. I mentioned that every ministry has a 4.0 now these days. Now the whole government wants to have it, the whole country. But what does it mean? If you think about projecting the philosophy of Industry 4.0 to the government, then it means actually that the government would work more like business, hopefully. So we will resolve problems more quickly, more precisely. We'll adapt to changes in a more responsive manner, and the management of the budget will be done more transparently, effectively, and efficiently. That is a hope. We don't know when and how that is going to be achieved, but I think governments all around the world are working on this Government 4.0. So this is important. So the mindset of the government has to change also because it is expected by the citizens. The same citizens that work in the industry, that work maybe in an academic environment where 4.0 already is prevailing. Of course, they're used to a certain style, they're used to a certain philosophy, they will demand the same thing to the government, and they're the voters, right? They have the right to demand that. And so my prediction is it will have to happen like that. Oops. So basically, it changes the role of government from being an administrator where the citizen is a mere resident to a service provider where the citizen is a consumer, or a facilitator where the citizen is a participant. But in fact, in a 4.0 world, the citizen will be a co-creator. Let's think about a particular situation. We have, for instance, I think I said that every government wants to be 4.0 and every ministry. There's another key word these days, which is smart. Every city wants to be smart. Every country wants to be smart. Everything is smart. But it doesn't mean that they're really already smart. But what it means, actually, what is the target of a smart city? We want to improve the quality of life of the citizens in that city. So how does that happen? Every city has challenges, has problems. And these problems need to be resolved. Whereas in the old world, there is something like a philosophy called the lab is our world. Meaning to say, if you are a researcher, an innovator, you do it by yourself, and when you're finished, you come to the market and you try it out. In these days, you turn it the other way around. You say, the world is our lab. Meaning to say, when you innovate, you already, during the process of innovation, you communicate with the people, the stakeholders. It could be the users, could be companies involved, could be government, other government agencies, could be academia, could be anything who's interested to participate. So while innovating, you test your thesis, you test your result, and by doing that, you basically open up the process of innovation, and in most cases, you get a better result. That is called open innovation. And in that regard, if you look at the citizen, warganya, they become not only, they become co-creator in the process. They are co-innovator. So that is, so you can see the 4.0 is not only technology, it actually changes relationships. It makes people that are involved in the process having more responsibility, more contribution, which is meaningful. But that requires, of course, that those people will have to be also better educated. I mean, we have to get high quality input. Of course, we need to check. Sometimes you don't need to be educated in a very sophisticated manner in order to give some feedback. But I think in order to be productive, it's good to have educated people involved. So again, I mean, I mentioned this for the X time now. Technology drives disruption, sorry. So you see a few things. I basically put them into three categories. One is the so-called intelligent category, then the digital, and the web or the mesh. So what brings all three components in the ICT world basically have contribution to disruption in the innovation. So you talk about the AI or intelligent application, or in the digital field, yeah, as something like virtual augmented reality. I think virtual reality is clear. You basically, if you watch the movie, what is that? Where they have the avatar, that I think gives you a good impression of what virtual reality can do to you. Augmented reality is a bit different because that is actually still in this world. And I think there was a game some time ago called Pokemon on your mobile phone, where you can see these little cute yellow animals on your phone, and it would be everywhere on the screen and basically integrated with the real world, but it's only, it appears as something virtual on your mobile phone. So it's a mix between virtual and real world. And, and on the net, you have, of course, the digital technology platforms, the adaptation of the adaptive architecture, etc. I don't want to go into detail, but again, the main message here is that technology drives disruption. And guess what? In today's world, the technological advancements, the breakthrough technologies, the speed of development of new technology is increasing. But why is that so? Why is it increasing? Because of our hyper-connected world. So results that we can find in research in one corner of the world, you can get them very fast in another corner. So people give information to one another, inspire one another, collaborate with one another much faster and on a much larger scale than before. And that is actually accelerating innovation and actually making technological breakthroughs quicker, possible in a larger way. So I think I said this already, and Pa Basuki already said this. There are key technologies. I don't want to go into detail. That's clear. So this is something that I like to emphasize here, and that is something very important to my heart, because in Indonesia, we are always so bangga, so proud that we are Facebook user number 2 and Twitter user number 3, etc., etc. But you know what? We are very good technological consumers, but are we producers? So that is actually what I like to emphasize here, that we, as the 4th largest nation in the world with so many, and also keep in mind that we have 50% of our people, of Indonesians, are below 35. They are all either millennials or so-called digital natives. What it means is they should be very much in a position to be participating in the creative process, not just using and basically participating in the social media. That is not enough. They need to be focused on becoming what I call a prosumer. So participating in sourcing content, curating it, creating bundles, and distributing it is not enough. But we have to also producing not data, but even the technology. And that makes the Indonesian consumer, hopefully at some point in time, inshallah, become a prosumer. That's what we call this type of person. I think, again, this was already said by Pa Basuki. I think we think alike, Pa. That's good news. But it also confirms that basically we are facing actually a major challenge, that the type of work that we have seen in the past is going to be very different than in the future, enabled through technology. The location, the timing, the scope, everything can be managed largely by technology, meaning you don't have to be in the same office, you don't have to be there at the same time working on the same thing. But what I would like to emphasize here, the need for physical face-to-face meeting has not completely disappeared. In fact, what I've seen, I'm actually not an ICT guy from a professional standpoint. I'm an aerospace guy, as most people know here in this room. So what I see, people would have thought some years ago, oh, we can do video conferencing, meaning people don't have to travel anymore. They just stay at home and work from home, and so less flights. It's absolutely not the case. It's the opposite. Meaning the flights skyrocket. I mean, in Indonesia, we have a growth of 15 to 20% more passengers every year. Jakarta is already, with 65 million people, passengers per year, bigger than Changi in Singapore. So Indonesia and other countries are experiencing a boom in air travel. I think also because basically the advent of ICT as an industry has enabled more industries to collaborate with one another in the same country, in the same region, globally. And that makes actually the possibility, the need for face-to-face meetings even larger. And of course, if you see these nice destinations online, you want to travel. You want to see. It's not enough to just communicate with one another. You want to know the other person. You want to get a feel how it is to work in the other place. And human communication cannot be substituted completely with ICT. That is not possible. We'll still need and will always need that human touch. So, but the future of work, meaning to say, I think personally that the human as a worker, as an employee, will more and more focus on what is really not substitutable. You cannot substitute with technology. It's the so-called human touch. Whatever it is, we will more and more understand better what it means, what it cannot be substituted by technology, and there, humans will have to specialize on that, I think. Repetitive tasks, tasks where we have to deal with millions and gazillions of data, you cannot do this with humans. They make mistakes, and it's tiring, and the added value to have a human there is very little. But there is other fields unexplored, I think, where we will have to work hard in order to understand what is the contribution of the human, and where can we make added value vis-a-vis the machine. So this is basically the problem already mentioned before. We have this link or no link and no match problem through the formal education and the informal education, which goes to the workplace, and that gap has not been closed yet. Right now, we are working on that. I think Indonesia has embarked upon a journey whereby vocational education has become more and more in the spotlight. However, we also know that the largest unemployment in Indonesia is actually the graduates that come from those vocational schools. So something is not right about the way it's being taught, and maybe it's not about the way only, but it's also about the quality of the teachers. Because in fact, what I know from my own experience, the quality of the teachers in those vocational schools, most of them have never worked in the industry. They just are teachers and know it from the book themselves. But you need to have that hands-on experience in order to convey meaningful and relevant education to those students, that they are indeed, whenever they graduate from the vocational school, they are ready to work and are really, really useful for their individual employers and companies. Again, there's this need for human resources. So there's a rapid growth, and I think anywhere in the world, like already said before, we have a problem in supplying enough people to what's ever needed in the industry. For us in Indonesia, there's a good example that we should be aware of. I mentioned before Gojek, a company that is active in Indonesia, very big. I remember at some point in time, they were needing a lot of work to be done in order to improve the software because it wasn't stable. But guess what? They couldn't find it in Indonesia, and so they had to go as far as India in order to buy a company in India. They bought a company, if I'm not mistaken, in order to have enough people working for them in Indonesia, because we didn't have enough people that were at the level, and I say level, so we probably have enough fresh graduate, but fresh graduate is not what we need sometimes. We need senior people who have experience, and that we still lack. But I think we are catching up fastly, so I'm quite sure that in a few years to come, this will be more in balance than it is today. Another thing I think is also clear, we have a gap between supply and demand. There are so many new professions, being an executive, managers, et cetera, and all of that is actually amplifying the link and match problem, because the definition of work itself in the ICT sector is changing. I mean, there are jobs that we didn't know even about some years ago. I mean, all of us have heard of people that are active in the social media space being an influencer or being a buzzer. I mean, what is that? I mean, some years ago, we didn't know about this, but now it becomes sometimes even more important. I mean, these people become celebrities by themselves, and they become more like the new media. I mean, they are more contributing to the sales of a company than, for instance, you put an ad in Vogue or an ad in Indonesian magazines. It doesn't contribute so much anymore to the sales. You have to have direct link to people, have direct link to so many other people. So this is basically my last slide here, and I think I have to a little bit change the first. It is actually true that the fourth industrial revolution will create millions of new jobs, and it will be a leap for the Indonesian economy. In fact, I think that if you think about the future Indonesian economy, yes, I think we should call it the economy which is driven by innovation. But it creates some millions of jobs, but it also will destroy millions of jobs. And is it something unusual? No, it's not. Just think about the millions of people that some 100 years ago were out of a job whenever we had the new machine called the printing machine for books. There's a nice story about the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, and he was having a lot of people protesting, coming to him and saying, please, you should forbid this new machine coming to our country. And what machine was that? That was this printing machine invented by Mr. Johann Gutenberg in Germany in the 15th century or so. I don't remember exactly when, or 16th. And who were those people who protested? Well, there were the book copiers. Those days, books were copied by hand. So if you buy a book in the 16th century or so, it would be very, very expensive, because you can imagine how much it costs in order to copy a book. But of course, these people were out of a job whenever the new machine came in. But what happened? Because the books became cheaper, people can get education better, knowledge better, or cheaper, and for more people. So it actually brought a lot of goodness for many people. Of course, some people had to suffer because of that, but I think we should always remember that the progress in our worlds comes always at a cost. But what we have to watch is that more people benefit from progress than actually suffer. But I think it never comes with zero cost. It doesn't happen. Second point is the government has to adapt as a result of it. I explained it already before. And again, underline, fat letters, the adequate human resources are the key point in making this fourth industrial revolution something which will be coming as a benefit for the whole human race and also for Indonesia. I think that's about it, what I have to say today. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Terima kasih atas perhatian. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Santi 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 Om.
Mr. Ilham, you are kindly asked to remain on stage to receive the token of appreciation. We also would like to invite Mr. Basuki Yusuf Iskandar to come forward to receive the token of appreciation. Mr. Gogot Suharwoto, please come forward to present the token of appreciation to Dr. Ing Ilham Akbar Habibi MBA and Mr. Basuki Yusuf Iskandar. Thank you very much indeed. You may return to your seats. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed our agenda this morning until this afternoon, we would like to let you to enjoy some refreshment of coffee break, and the coffee break is provided at the second floor. And you are kindly asked to return to this ballroom in the next 30 minutes. Bapak Ibu hadirin, kami sampaikan sebelum kita ikuti acara selanjutnya, kami silakan Bapak Ibu untuk menikmati hidangan coffee break yang telah tersedia di lantai 2. Dan kami mohon kembali ke ruangan ini pada pukul